Hello and welcome to another Magnus and Scout video. One common question we get asked about from the pups is, what are the differences? So in this video I thought I'd go through some of the differences between Magnus and Scout. We'll start with some of the physical differences between the two pups. Magnus is a 10-year-old male greyhound. He's a white and brindle. He weighs just under 40 kilograms. And his coat size is a 32 long, so he's quite a big male greyhound. Scout, on the other hand, is a 7-year-old girl. She's a white and black greyhound. She weighs just under 30 kilograms and her coat size is a 28. Size wise, Magnus is quite a bit bigger than Scout. Magnus is quite a big male greyhound, and Scout is average size for a girl, but Magnus is several inches taller and a few inches longer than Scout. The ears are different on Magnus and Scout. Magnus's ears naturally go backwards, as you can see in the picture. They can go forward and out, but generally are faced backwards. Scouts are forward, so you can see they flap forward. So occasionally pull them back, but naturally they're falling, so they're forward on her face. Next, let's talk tails. Scout has her full tail, whereas Magnus is missing part of his tail. He had it earlier in his racing career, but at some point in time between Ireland and England, he lost part of his tail. Next, let's talk about coats or fur. Magnus has got very thick hair. You can see some of it from the collar here. And when you lie down, you can see it's rather thick and it's reasonably soft, but you can see it's really thick hair, which means he sheds a lot more than Scout. Scout, on the other hand, has very thin fur, very light coat, so you can barely see it above the head, but it is very soft. When we go on walks with the pups, Scout likes to always sort of charge ahead, going as fast as she can. Magnus is more likely to be sort of going a bit slower and sniffing, doing lots of marking and lots of stopping. Both Magnus and Scout like car rides, but Scout is obsessed with going on car rides and always has to stop by the car whenever we go out for a walk, and is always wanting to go for a ride in the car, even if it's just round the block. She absolutely loves going in the car. Sorry, no ride today, Scout. Another way in which the pups are different is confidence levels. Magnus is a very confident dog and will happily come up to you and demand to be rubbed and pet, and is very outgoing and scared of very little things. Scout, on the other hand, is a bit more aloof and a little bit more nervous, not quite as confident as Magnus. Although she will still have to be pet, she tends not to seek it out the way Magnus does. Magnus does the greyhound lean. Scout doesn't do this, but Magnus will come in for a hug and do the full-on lean if he's after some love and some cuddles. One thing that Scout does that Magnus doesn't is derp. That's when you put your tongue out of the mouth. It's very cute to see, and Scout does this quite a bit when she's quite content. Another thing she does is she will lick your face and give you little kisses. Not always cool. And she will always go into the shopping. Whenever we get shopping brought home, Magnus doesn't care, but Scout always has to check it out, get her head in the bags and have a good old sniff around to see what we've bought. Luckily she won't take anything out of the bags, but she does have a good old rummage in there to see what she can find. Another thing that Scout does that Magnus doesn't is collect/steal shoes. Usually before we're going to go for a walk, Scout will come along and take your shoes out of the hallway to the living room. Even though we're going to go out the front door. Yeah, so she'll often steal whatever shoes are at the front door and carry them through to our lounge sitting room area. If Magnus wants something, he'll usually come up to you and boop you with his nose or nudge your arm. If it's either some rubs or some attention or wanting to do something, he's generally very quiet and makes very little noise. But is very good at telling you what he wants. Scout, on the other hand, is very vocal and will make noise whenever she wants something, be it time to get up, time to go out for a walk, why is dinner taking so long, all these things. She'll make lots of whining and whimpering noises, and occasionally she will bark as well. So you hear her waiting for dinner to be prepped, Magnus sitting quietly, Scout being a bit more vocal. It's coming, folks. Another difference between Magnus and Scout is that Magnus has some resource guarding issues, especially with food with bones in it, so we feed their breakfast of chickens and whenever we give any bones, feed Magnus and Scout in separate spaces, just that way Magnus doesn't feel threatened by anyone taking away his bones. Both Magnus and Scout are big foodies and will happily eat as much food as we can give them. Although Magnus has got a slightly wider diet than Scout, there's some things that Magnus will eat that Scout will turn her nose up at. Magnus is usually happy to try anything that we offer to him. After some meals, Magnus will want burped and petted if he's eaten his dinner too fast, and he'll let out a loud belch or burp at the end. It's not every meal, but he will occasionally do this. Scout doesn't request this service from us. However, after Scout eats her meal, she will go into one of her beds or sometimes a rug and clean her face on the rug. Thanks for that, Scout. Yeah, you make sure it's clean on the nice carpet. Luckily for us, most times she'll do it in her bed, so it's not an issue. Next up is toys. We have quite a few toys for the pups. Magnus very rarely plays with the toys, but Scout on the other hand plays with them every single day, likes to toss them in the air, pulling them apart and destroy them as quickly as she can. Although Scout plays with toys an awful lot, when it comes to puzzles she's not quite as good as Magnus and gets frustrated and gives up quite quickly, although she keeps trying.
Not there, look. Yeah.
Magnus, on the other hand, does very well with puzzles and is always very quick to solve them. And doesn't waste any time getting to the food as quickly as possible. When it comes to sleeping, Magnus sleeps a lot more than Scout. Scout is also a very early riser, doesn't like to have lie-ins at the weekends, unlike the rest of us. One of our differences as far as bedding, Magnus likes things to be just so and has to get the bit just right for his head to fit in there, whereas Scout will happily flump down anywhere. Although because they make nests, Magnus has to have things just so before he can go to sleep for the night. Another difference is roaching. Magnus likes to roach and does it quite often in different beds in different parts of the house. Scout doesn't roach very often and sometimes struggles to get into that position. If she does, she only holds it for a couple of seconds. You can do it, Scout. Well done, Scout. There you go, you can do it. So I hope you enjoyed this little look into some of the differences between Magnus and Scout. There's a whole bunch more, but the video could go on for hours and hours because they are very, very different dogs. Very different personalities, but both lots of fun to have around the house. So the other week there, we went to the Colinton area of Edinburgh along the Waterleaf Walkway to check out Colinton Tunnel, which is an old railway tunnel that's been painted by locals in the area to honour the history. So we went with the pups to see what they thought and to check it out.